You either be bold with your predictions or don't say nothing at all. Let's talk some football.
Welcome back to Bold Predictions Podcast. We're here bringing you more coverage of Week 1 NFL action. He's Mr. KC, and I'm that dude with the beard. And Mr. KC, what you got cooking for us today?
Well, that dude with the beard, what we watched on Thursday night to open up the NFL season was a matchup that was not up to expectations, I'd say. The Bills blew the Rams out. What'd you take away from this game?
First and foremost, I made a pick rolling with the Rams for this game. I'm still stand by my pick. I think Matthew Stafford was coming in a little bit under 100%, with the whole elbow deal. I think that played a major factor in his performance. But other than that, no excuses. Buffalo was ready, both sides of the ball. I thought the run game looked pretty decent for him. Stephon Diggs was just completely on a whole different planet. Jalen Ramsey was like a 2-year-old trying to find a binky out there. This thing, man, ridiculous.
That's not how Ramsey wanted to look to start the season. I guarantee you, that's gonna hurt his. I think it'll probably help Ramsey later in the season because he knows what embarrassment already looks like. That was
sure.
I think Stephon Diggs had like 120 yards, and
about 122.
Yeah, 122. That's a rough night to give up, especially to start the season. In a game where you're hanging your banner, as we noticed in the background, we see what a banner hanging looks like, and we know how precious of a moment that is, and to get your teeth kicked in when you're hanging your banner in your home crowd, you don't even get a home field advantage on your banner night either. It's kind of weird that they can't fill a stadium.
It is, and you would think being in LA, it'd be a popping kind of situation, almost the place to be. Especially your team is coming off a Super Bowl, you would think, but if you're not the Lakers, they're not coming out. Apparently, if you're in LA,
right? What'd you think about old Von Miller out there in Buffalo? He turned it up for Thursday night, didn't he?
He sure did. He looked better than I really expected him to look better. I mean, he was flexible. He was getting around. He showed power. I mean, it seems like Buffalo really got a steal with him. I still think they overpaid. I don't know how many times he can keep that up or how long he's going to keep it up, even if he's solid this whole year. I'm like, we still got next year, the year after that, and you paid this man a small fortune. Well, beyond a small fortune, millions of dollars at this point. But he looked great on Thursday. I will say that.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit of an overreach picking up a aging veteran pass rusher, but man, he earned his money on Thursday night. But you're right, it's week one. This is a long season. We'll see, and he's got multiple years, so we'll see how that goes. But Buffalo fans definitely aren't regretting that decision right now, and I wouldn't blame them either. I'd pay that money for 2 sacks.
Right, and what they get last night as a team, about 7 total.
I think it was something like that. Yeah, it was a slaughterhouse for a Matt Stafford. And really, I think that's one of the things that's overlooked on this game is if Matt Stafford was a different quarterback or played better, they would have been in that game, and it would have been much closer than the blowout because the Bills still turned it over 4 times. What's your opinion on the 4 turnovers?
Oh, well, in my opinion, when you're playing with Josh Allen, turnovers happen. Like I said, I'm not quick to anoint this man MVP. I'm not quick to anoint him even top 3 in the league. I mean, the guy is talented. I mean, he can get the job done for sure. I'm not knocking him, but I'm not ready to say he's as great as the picture is being painted for him by most mainstream media. But the turnovers are a given. I mean, he threw 2 picks himself, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
And you know how they'll try to say the first one, it's not really his fault. I'm like, well, whenever it holds up against certain other quarterbacks in the NFL, it's most certainly flaunted when they're talked about. So asterisk or no, I mean, it's a turnover. So, I mean, the Bills show that they can be beat. They give you opportunities. My thing is their defense, and with that injury to Stafford, he couldn't capitalize because Cooper Kupp had a hell of a game himself. So it wasn't like they couldn't do absolutely nothing, but after Cooper Kupp, I mean, the offense pretty much stalled.
Yeah, and the offensive line for the Rams looked terrible. It made the Bills' defensive line look really good, but I don't think it's an elite defensive line. But they're going to have to do something if they want to protect Matt Stafford, because he's not a quarterback that's going to run away in the pocket or get away too much and extend the plays with his legs to the fact that he can overcome a bad offensive line. We've seen the struggles for so many years in Detroit.
Right. Especially without having proper protection in Detroit. And not even mentioned to have proper talent. I mean, well, he had Calvin for all those years, but without protection and any other help, any feasible help on the other side of the ball, I mean, you end up where you end up. But, luckily he had last year, and maybe that'll be the year that lives in infamy for him. If anything, if last night showed us anything. But like I said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the injury. I still think the Rams are going to be formidable going down, further down the road here. But last night, like you said, man, teeth kicked in, curb stomped, stone cold stunned, however you want to put it, people's elbow, 1, 2, 3, it was done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you there. And I think my biggest takeaway from the Bills is, with all the hype, is all I can think is if you turn the ball over 4 times, we won't have to worry about coin flips in Kansas City. Cincinnati's not worried about a coin flip if you turn it over 4 times. We can start going down the list of a lot of teams in the AFC that will destroy you if you give them the ball 4 extra times.
4 extra times.
Yeah, look at. I mean, I'm not even big on the Raiders, but I think if you give the Raiders 4 extra possessions, they played that game a lot closer than what Matt Stafford did.
For sure.
It's a dangerous move. And everyone will hype them up because the Rams just won the Super Bowl. But I have big questions on if this is the same Super Bowl Rams team. And maybe Aaron Donald might regret not taking that retirement.
The way he looked on the sideline yesterday, I'm pretty sure he's already thinking about it. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we will see on that.
Do you have any final thoughts on this football matchup?
Beyond the impact of the Bills' defensive line, and maybe it is asterisk because of what you said about the Rams and their offensive line. I mean, really, that was the strongest suit of the game for me. Like, I wouldn't say you expect the Bills to score 31, but I mean, it's like you're playing a team that clearly didn't show up to play for it. I mean, technically, when they did make some plays, like I said, the offense couldn't back up what their defense did, because the Rams defense didn't play terrible. But when you're constantly on the field and when you're constantly getting worn down, I mean, any defense will break at some point.
Yeah, because it's not like the Rams didn't start turning the ball over too. They were giving it right back to them. Merry Christmas.
Right. I mean, Matthew said classic Stafford. What, he throw 3 picks himself?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think if you take, if he can get that down to 1 interception and convert 2 of those touchdowns, all of a sudden you have a much closer game, and it would have been more of the matchup that I think we all wanted to see.
For sure, without a doubt.
Now, following up after this game, what are some free agents that some teams could look forward to kind of pick up and look at to maybe improve their team? Like if the Chiefs needed somebody, who should we look at? What are available free agents out there that catch your eye?
When it comes to Kansas City, really the only thing in mind for me would be another receiver and maybe another cornerback and possibly defensive lineman. Ndamukong Suh is always still out there, and he's a champion. proven time and over again, arguably at one point in time, considered the best tackle in all of football until we got Aaron Donald.
Right.
So, I mean, you got a guy like that out there. We have a pretty good D-line that could, really get after it if you have somebody like him in the middle next to Chris Jones really commanding that inside, which will really open it up for our guys on the outside.
Yeah.
And as far as that defense goes here, we could use a lot of more pressure coming off the line there for sure.
Yeah, and I think there's tons of teams that really could use that interior pressure. If you look around the league, it's not even just a Chiefs thing. I feel like getting interior pressure from a defensive tackle, there's really only a couple handfuls of guys in the league that even do that.
Right. That even have the capability, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sue might be one of the better defensive players that are available that teams, to be honest with you, it's surprising that he's not out there week 1.
Right, it is. I'm really surprised that Chris Harris isn't out there. Like I said, there's a couple of good guys, good corners. Hell, the way the Rams looked last night, they could use Chris Harris out there. the way Jalen Ramsey was out there on those ice skates, just flailing, looking crazy. I mean, there's some guys out there who we know are impact players. Yeah, they might be, on the other side of 30. 31, 32, somewhere in there. But, I mean, they still, could have a little bit in the tank. You never know until you get the guy out there.
Right. What's your Odell Beckham Jr. pick? Who do you think he's going to end up going to? Because that's kind of the wild card this year.
It is. And, honestly, I'm boiling down to 3 teams in my mind. The obvious pick, he'll be back with the LA Rams to try to help them capture another Super Bowl title. A likelier pick, well, not a likelier pick, but a pick that if I was the GM out in this cold weather town, I would be trying to get him as soon as he becomes available as far as playing wise, because we know we can sign him now. If I'm in Green Bay needs a receiver of his caliber. They need somebody who's an immediate splash, like he's instant offense. You need a guy like that. And then the last place where I think he could go and he could really be feasible and he could help this guy out a lot is down there where you picked your boys down there in New Orleans, your boy Jameis. He could use somebody like him. And like I'm saying, if you could get him down there with Michael Thomas, a healthy Michael Thomas, and like I said, their run game is pretty decent, I think that Odell could really open it up for New Orleans. That'd be the way they can make a real push.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought up those lists because I hadn't really considered Green Bay or New Orleans, and in both situations, I think it makes sense. With Green Bay, the only part of it is Green Bay won't give Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver, so I think that's right as tradition. He'd probably be a great fit with Aaron Rodgers too. And Aaron Rodgers could use someone besides Sammy. Am I going to play Watkins or Lazard? Those are the 2 big guys off their wide receiver squad that you can name, and those aren't 2 names you want that far up on your list.
Oh, it sure isn't. It sure isn't. No, not a knock on these players. You guys are probably good men, all that, but Sammy, we've had you. We know what you can do. And to be honest, it's not that much, brother. And it's no disrespect. Maybe you get out there in Green Bay and you do turn it up and you ball out. I hope you do.
Right.
But from the previous stints, the numbers just doesn't support it. So we will see.
Now, I've got 2 teams, and I want your opinions on possibilities for them to go. Is the Bills and then the 49ers. What do you think about his fit on the 49ers? Because they've got Debo and Kittle, and so it kind of leaves a few less touches for Odell OBJ. But it really, I think, would be a nice fit for the 49ers too.
You know what? Like you said, I haven't considered that, but just thinking about it and thinking about how solid that run game is in San Francisco, you could use a guy like OBJ to be a legitimate threat because everybody knows you're going to run it. I mean, but that's the thing with San Fran. Can you stop it? We know they're going to run it somehow, but if you can get a guy like him who can constantly win on the outside and or the inside, doesn't really matter for him. But as long as you have a guy like that with that type of run game, it could give San Fran another Super Bowl push. He's the kind of player that really could take, as long as you have a few pieces in place, he really is that kind of final ingredient guy. Now, as
Right.
far as him ending up in Buffalo, I don't think that'll happen. I think Buffalo is, content with who they got, and after the way Stephon Diggs played yesterday, I wouldn't even look at another receiver. if Jalen Ramsey's supposed to be the standard, it looks like we got the standard buster. So
Yeah.
OBJ, yeah, not to Buffalo. I can see the 49ers before Buffalo. But that's interesting you say Buffalo, though.
Yeah, and OBJ's got a high football IQ, and I can see him wanting to stay in the NFC to really kind of give him a Super Bowl
Maximize.
chance. Yeah, because it's a real crowded AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you take some of our picks and swish them around, it's still just a really crowded AFC. And I think you have it's a lot easier path in the NFC.
For sure. That's without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
But in other news, though, quick question I had for you was just sitting there thinking about it. What do you think about Lamar Jackson not getting paid?
Oh, Lamar Jackson not getting paid was the biggest insult to Lamar Jackson I've ever seen. First of all, you wait till next year and you're gonna have to pay him more. The prices of quarterback doesn't ever go down. If we learned anything, you need to pay your young quarterback early. If you look at Lamar Jackson's resume, he's earned a big contract. You can't tell
Right.
me that he's not a top 10 quarterback. He's a young quarterback. He stays relatively healthy. And besides last year, he's been a solid, easy playoff making quarterback. And because of his style of quarterbacking, you have to prepare for the Ravens differently than everybody else in the league. Even if you look at Josh Allen likes to run the ball, but not like Lamar. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can look at Kyler Murphy. He's a mobile quarterback, but he's not leaving the pocket like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just Lamar Jackson's ability to run is underappreciated as a quarterback. He's a better Michael Vick, and I think even Michael Vick would tell you that. And
My only, and not to cut you off on that, because I agree with you thoroughly. And just to add just a little bit more to what you're saying, you just tell me anybody else who's in the NFL who's been an MVP in the last 5 years.
right,
You have an
yeah,
NFL MVP at quarterback, and you won't give him any money.
yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable, and especially when you look at Russell Wilson getting paid. So you got an old, washed-up veteran getting paid big money, top three money for a non-top 10 quarterback. Wild thought.
Mm-hmm.
You give Deshaun Watson big money. Like, would you
Hasn't
think this?
played.
Yeah, and so now instead of comparing contracts from Watson and Wilson, look who's getting paid next year. You're giving him who? What's his contract look like compared to Joe Burrow or Herbert?
Right.
You don't think those guys aren't getting paid more?
Right.
It's wild. I couldn't believe it.
It's beyond wild because I guarantee you, if Baltimore doesn't pay him, I guarantee you there's another NFL team out there who will clear the locker room to get him.
Good
To
Lord.
get it. Like,
The,
good
the,
night.
yeah.
He'd be
Yes.
down in Miami.
It'll be interesting to see if they try to tag him next year and if he plays on a tag.
Oof, yeah.
I think he's
I,
the type too to play on the tag though.
maybe. He might be right. I mean, it's that quarterback position, though. I mean, like you said, you look around and see everybody else who I can argue say is of lesser talent, get
Yeah.
money, and my organization is not even considering what I'm bringing to the table, what I've already brought. Like I said,
Yeah.
Baltimore, he brought Baltimore back to relevancy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. They
crazy.
fell
It's
off.
insane.
They were falling off with Joe Flacco, and he brought them instantly back. Like
instantly.
touching on to what you said, if you look at his resume, name a quarterback under 30, not named Patrick Mahomes, with a better resume.
Exactly.
Everybody looks at Josh Allen, Herbert, Burrow. Like we can name all these great young quarterbacks, and none of them have Lamar's resume yet.
None. Not
It's
even
wild to
close.
think. Maybe Joe Burrow. He made it to a Super Bowl, little more
Well,
playoff
that's
success.
impressive. I mean, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. The playoff success would put him in that conversation, but this man is a unanimous NFL MVP. Like it's not
right.
even close. Like it's not even close. They're good, but Lamar Jackson, he's a transcendent next level type of talent. Like you said, anybody who's not named Patrick Mahomes, I would be looking for Lamar Jackson if I needed a quarterback. And he's
Yeah, and
available. Please.
there's a strong argument for that. He's in my top five, and I would if the quarterbacks I wanted got drafted before him, I still wouldn't be disappointed with the guy I got. Like
Right.
I'd still be thinking I could win a Super Bowl with him.
He's a game changer.
Yeah,
Instant game changer. No, I agree 100%. I just like I said, it's crazy that he hasn't gotten paid, but if Baltimore doesn't wise up, like I said, and Miami's good at sneaking in, and they'll give you the house, the car, the kids, and the dog if you want it all.
imagine Lamar Jackson on the Dolphins, man, with
that
Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Ooh,
that's what I'm
ooh,
saying.
that I would not. I hope Tom
And then
Brady
we'll
goes.
see. I was about to say, and then we'll see how Josh Allen and them fare with Miami and them out there
Yeah,
poking like that. We'll
exactly.
have to see. But these are just hypotheticals, but I would love to see it. We would have to see.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be. Miami would love to see it too.
Right.
I think a couple other guys got paid also. Wasn't didn't Waller just get paid?
Oh yeah, you're right. Darren Waller, what he got a 3 year, I think it was 51 million
Yeah, I
extension.
think, which is pretty good money for him. That's up there.
It's the top tier for what tight ends are going for nowadays. That's kind of a top tier deal. And I mean, he's arguably a top five tight end. I mean, there's
Yeah,
not really too many guys better than him. I mean, he's not mediocre. He's a pretty good run guy. I mean, he's got soft hands, so he's a good catch. I'm
yeah,
not mad at that deal. I mean, it's pretty good. Not mad at
yeah.
that.
I was pretty excited for him too. I thought that was good news for him. It's always anytime someone can get blessed and paid like that. Uh, I'm
Right.
glad the Raiders, and I think he's a guy that he'll live up to the contract probably. As long as you stay healthy and whatnot, and
Right.
good quarterback. Maybe if he got a better quarterback, his numbers would be better. But uh,
Right.
as
You
long
get
as
what
it's
you
Carr being the quarterback and not a backup or something, I expect nothing but good things from Waller.
get for sure. Without a doubt. Derek
Right.
Carr. That's a whole nother subject. More to
Yeah.
come on Derek Carr.
Ain't no lie.
No. I'm understanding there's a couple of there was one other free agent who I thought about, but it's not coming to me right now. Who I
Oh,
was thinking because we were talking about defense, and I started thinking about Vegas because they need a corner too. Um, Xavier Rhodes.
yeah, Xavier
Yeah,
Rhodes.
he could be a good fit in Vegas. Like I said, I'm not looking to make
Yeah.
the competition any better, but they could certainly use them because their defense does have a lot of questions, and they always like to say that their kind of pass rush because they got what's the Max Crosby, I think his name is, or Max
Yeah.
Crosby,
Yeah.
because
Mad
he's down there.
Max.
He kind of covers up a lot of their faults and stuff, but clearly they need some help on the back end. And I'm just surprised that he's still sitting out there when you got a guy who's proven to be, not all elite coverage guy, but he's almost top tier. He's like,
Right.
almost at the bubble of tipping over. So
Yeah. I haven't checked on his health or anything. I wonder if he's got like a medical problem or something. I'm not sure because you would think he would already be on a roster. Like, there's
that's a good point. I haven't considered injury on him. Maybe that does. I'm gonna take a look at that. See if I can find info on that.
Yeah, because I'm sure with a few of these guys, it's got to be something. There's got to be an excuse because you would expect Xavier Rhodes to be on a
Right.
squad somewhere.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and I think there was another guy that got paid, Knox for the Bills, another tight end, and he got pretty good money too. And he's a pretty good, solid player, and that should, keep some stability there with Josh Allen. I think if the Bills can keep some stability with like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Knox, that really helps build the franchise, I think, for the Bills.
Yeah, it'll help keep a couple solid pieces, foundational pieces. Because I mean, eventually you guys might end up making a run. I mean, and this might just be the bias in me. I mean, until you can beat Kansas City, I mean, I just view you as your regular season stat stuffers. I mean,
Yeah,
so I mean this will help keep something in place, but they need just something to push them over the edge as far as being in real contention for future reference. But Knox is definitely a good piece to have. He's a guy you don't want to lose. I'll put it that way. If you're
right.
Buffalo,
Absolutely.
you know.
So let's start talking about these divisions. Let's
Okay.
start talking about who's actually making the playoffs this year. Let's start with the AFC West. I think this might be the easiest prediction, the least bold of the group, I might imagine,
For
so to
sure.
speak. Uh, what is what's your predictions for the AFC West?
Well, and we talk about predictions, and at this point, it's not even prediction. Like it's a fact at this point. Andy Reid has shown that he owns the AFC West. He is the commissioner of the AFC West. He is the governor of the AFC West. He's the guy you got to call if you want to put down new driveway. You need rebar. You got to call Andy Reid. Like he's the guy for everything. The AFC West is in a stranglehold that I don't think will be relinquished probably for another 6 years or so. I have Kansas City running away with the AFC West without even a second thought to put into it. Everybody else is playing for a wild card spot.
And I completely agree with you there. And I'm going to save all the non-Chiefs fans a moment here and let them know that I'm just going to go ahead and pick the Chiefs for pretty much everything that you just said. I can't say it any better myself. So I'm gonna let the dude with the beard speak for the both of us on that one. My only question to you is, let's take a homer step back and take a guess at who finishes second in the division. Who has the potential to be the wild card spot?
You know, I honestly think, and we were just talking about them, I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders. They've already showed with enough talent, like I said, and this is with less talent last year. He already snuck them past the boy Herbert to get into the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. Like the Chargers, they have to show me something. I've Denver, stop. I
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
there's so many analogies I could use to tell you why Denver's not going anywhere, but their rightful place at the bottom. But the Raiders, I believe they have second place in the AFC West locked up. I almost think I don't think it's close as how everybody else is painting it. I mean, because our division is tough, don't get me wrong. But I think the Raiders, as far as continuity with their offense, are light years ahead of the Broncos. I don't think that Justin Herbert and the Chargers they don't have it. They don't have enough to even make the playoffs.
yeah,
So to consider them a second, please, who do you have for second?
yeah.
Overall?
Well, I think the easiest way to put it is it's a repeat of last year. The Raiders, Chargers, and then Broncos. I'll say it simply like this: the Chargers, all they needed to do to make the playoffs, it was a real simple task: beat Derek Carr and the Raiders. They couldn't do it, and the
They
Raiders
couldn't
got
do it.
better. So I don't see how the Chargers make it past the Raiders, and it'll be interesting to see if um, if the Raiders end up actually getting that wild card spot. I think it's a strong possibility, but I don't think the Chargers are leaving them, and I think the Broncos finish in the basement again. and they're going to take a long, hard look at that contract they just gave Russell Wilson and realize that this Kansas City win streak doesn't end anytime soon.
Right. They're going to consider there's a guy who's going to be coming out of Ohio State at quarterback next year. They might want to take a look at. I'm not going to say too much about it right now, but until Russell Wilson showed me that he's the same old Russ with the guff, I just don't believe it.
Right.
We're in the show me, aren't we?
Exactly.
So I need to see it, Jack. There ain't nothing you can pull over my eyes here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, AFC West covered. We're Chiefs.
Yeah. We got the West covered. I think we should go. Let's go AFC East. Let's cross all the way across the map. Let's go to the media's favorite division. Let's talk about the Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. A couple good teams to that division. Who wins this division?
Man, with much reluctance, I will have to say that I honestly think the New England Patriots are going to find a way to win the AFC East. I do not think Bill Belichick
Wait,
hold at the bottom of the barrel.
Hold on. This is a serious take.
Yes, sir.
You're being serious with me right now.
Yes, sir.
This was not the team my ears were ready for. I had a couple of juggling around in the head, and then all of a sudden, I get smacked in the face with the Patriots. This was hold on. We'll bring this back 10 seconds. The Patriots. The
New England Patriots under the boy Macklin Jones and Bill Belichick will find a way to squeak out the AFC East. Like I said, I mean, the Bills are built to go. But my thing is they've been built to go. And you keep stalling out. I haven't seen Bill Belichick stalling. He made the playoffs last year. The door is open for him. I don't see how the GOAT of all coaching them doesn't come back probably with a vengeance. We'll see, because they've never been a star-studded team, recently, I would say, outside of Brady. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I got the Patriots, though. I'm going to go with the Patriots. And I know it's a shocker, but maybe the Bills get the wild card spot out of that division by being light years ahead of some other weak team from the South. There's always hope, because the AFC South. There's always time. There's always another spot. Don't worry.
And I gotta say, again, I just wasn't expecting the Patriots and the Pro Bowl Mac Jones. I guess I just wasn't. That almost it just still kind of flabbergasted over the Patriots.
So we gotta have a few bold ones today, man.
Yeah, and we ain't getting bolder than that, I don't think. If you tell me the Texans win the South, I might fall out of this chair.
I'm not delusional now, Mr. KC. I'm not delusional.
Yeah, I actually, I hate to say it, I hate this team, but it's the Bills. The Bills are going to win the AFC East. And not only that, I have the Dolphins making the wild card spot, which is leaving your Patriots in third place. I have them. I don't think Bill is finishing 500 this year, but I mean, if you're going to bet on a coach, Bill Belichick's the guy to bet on. So I like your take. It's not my take, but it is definitely a take for the night. Definitely, I think that might be the fight of the night right there. I don't know. We got a lot of divisions left. I might need to save that bonus money for someone.
No, I understand. We'll see. That's that Dolphins pick you had there. That's an interesting one. I'm just thinking at this point, Mac Jones is better than Tua Tagovailoa at this point. And I don't care how fast you are, because old Raiders teams, before pre-Derek Carr, they had so much speed at receiver, it was ridiculous. But it don't matter if you got a bum who can't get the ball there. Don't matter if you ain't got a line who can hold up, so the bum can try to get the ball there. So we'll see on that end. And not calling Tua a bum. I was talking about the previous one. I mean, Tua, we'll see. but I'm not a believer. I mean, we're not talking about Brett Favre down in Miami or something like that. Some dude with a rocket
Right.
cannon getting the job done. We're just talking about some guy who went to Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah, and he does have a lot to prove. I just think with the weapons, I mean, you got a loaded cast around you. Their defense is pretty nice, and the offense is you can't look around and find me some better wide receiver group. I don't think so. It would be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Let's
they're definitely an interesting take for sure.
let's knock out an easy one. Let's hit this AFC South. What do we? let's go with some easy picks here. Uh, since I know it's not the Texans, I'm not gonna fall out of my chair. Who are we going with, dude with the beard?
Oh,
What's the surprise?
my pick to win the AFC South this year are the Indianapolis Colts, led by Matt Ryan and a stellar running game. I really think that Matt Ryan is the final piece because after Andrew Luck, I mean, you've bounced around from mediocre to mediocre, and then you couldn't get more mediocre than Carson Wentz. So you bring in a guy like Matty Ice, an MVP, a guy who's been to the big dance, granted, blew the biggest lead in Super Bowl history, I think, to take an
Yeah,
L, but still a guy who at least been there. I mean, because the guys you've
yeah,
been dealing with, I keep forgetting Wentz is a champion, but we all know Nick Foles won that Super Bowl.
yeah.
Everybody forgot Carson Wentz was even there.
Right.
Um,
He had a good regular season and then was gone. That was
right.
Nick Foles. I won't give Carson Wentz credit for that Super Bowl. That was Nick.
How could you? Yeah,
Oh,
that's all
BD
Foles.
Nick Foles.
Yeah. But no, I have the Colts winning this division. Um, I won't say it's a runaway, but they have, in my opinion, out of everybody in that division, the best kind of coach quarterback combo, considering who they have right now. They got almost the best running game because outside of Derrick Henry, I mean, you really
Yeah,
can't get more premier at running back. But I mean, Taylor, he can make an argument to be MVP this year. So I
right.
mean, I got the Colts on this one. I got Jacksonville though as my sneaker, possibly my
Oh,
second team sneaker because I believe in the boy Trevor. We'll have to see. Now that there's some stability down in Jacksonville, we'll see how he can actually turn up and show the world, like, hey, fam, y'all forgot about me. I'm still here.
yeah,
So,
that's interesting because I also have the Colts for pretty much the same reasons you do. I just think it's the most complete roster. Matty Ice is probably the best quarterback in that division.
for
Uh,
sure.
yeah, and it's interesting you say Jacksonville because I'm not a believer in Trev. Lawrence, he's not the guy for me. I think he might have been he's kind of might touch that bust conversation after this season. But it's interesting to see with a coaching improvement. You know, Doug
Mhm.
Peterson, he can work with a quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. He can. He's known to
Yeah.
do
So
it.
let's
So,
move into the second toughest division. And I think next year this might actually be considered the toughest division, the AFC North. This is a
mm-hmm.
dogfighting division, and
Mm-hmm.
I already know based off of last week, this might not go in the direction I'm thinking. And if you're new to this podcast and you
Ooh.
didn't watch week one, there was some bold things said, and I'm going to give everyone a warning to buckle in, hold on tight.
Oh
Let's go
man.
on this ride, dude with a beard. What's happening in the north?
Well, there's only one thing happening in the north, and usually when you live up north, things are quiet. Things are usually peaceful. It's okay. But when you in the north and you live in this city, if the lights turn out, you better lock your doors because you might get robbed. I got the Steelers coming to take the AFC North under the boy Kenny Pickett. I just, I mean, I love everything that's going on in Cleveland here because of the turmoil. It opens up the door for the Steelers to get it. I like Pickett. I'm not a Steeler fan by any means, but when I look at this division, I just kind of see the door open. Like I said, I said it last week. I'm not a believer in the Bengals. I will never believe in the Bengals until they hoist the Lombardi. You can't tell me that they're going to be a threat in the AFC until they become a continuous threat. Like I said, they squeaked by last year, won a couple of games that they were destined to lose, got plenty of help from referees. We've all seen it, neither here nor there. Baltimore is the different question because we have a disgruntled Lamar now, but maybe it won't lead to performance on the field. We'll just have to see. I don't think their receiver core is really up to par to really. I mean, the only way the Ravens can win that division if they literally run away with it. But other than that, the Steelers got Mike Tomlin. He never goes under 500. He doesn't miss the playoffs, it seems. He got old Big Ben there last year. I'm pretty sure he can do it with the young boy Pickett this year. They will find a way to win the AFC North.
Yeah, and I like your take there. As I warned fans, there will probably be a parental advisory pop up on this section. It's one of my favorite takes from you, and it's actually made me a slight believer in the Steelers. Like, there's just a lot of takes. I've even seen a lot of like hatred towards Tomlin, like he's not a legitimate coach and whatnot, and it blows my mind because he's definitely in the top 10 and my personal top 5 coaches in the NFL.
Right now for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and it's hard to argue to me. I've got Cincinnati winning this division. I think the Browns don't win much without Watson. And then it just leaves you Steelers, which there's too many question marks for me to pick them. I just I can't take the leap with you just yet, but I hope you're right if it makes a difference. And then the Ravens, there's just a lot of questions. So this seems like a funky season for them. And after last year, I kind of need to bring back to the table of this is why we won or something like that.
Right. If you had to pick a number 2 out of that division, who would you pick though?
The Ravens.
The Ravens. I'm leaning that way too, because it seems like after that, like I said, because me not believing in Cincinnati, it's far more feasible that an NFL MVP can get the job done. I mean, like I said, you look at the body of work last year and what he was able to do. I'll even use the term short-staffed. You know what I mean? Like he can make things happen, and he's the kind of guy who, like I said, got that chip on his shoulder. He can make things happen, but I'm still go with these Steelers. So.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, but I agree with you. I think the Ravens even have the possibility to get into one of those wild card spots. I have it as the Raiders and the Dolphins, but I wouldn't be surprised if instead of the Raiders, it was actually the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. See, I got you on that end. I have the Dolphins out, and I put the Ravens there.
You have the Ravens. Who else would you put in the wild card? Who's your other wild card team?
My wild card, it was I would put the Ravens, and then who did I say it was going to be? Las Vegas.
Vegas. You think Vegas? I think Vegas has a good opportunity too.
For sure. I think because they lose just enough per history to kind of just put them right in that wild card spot. You know.
So let me ask you this. I know this is kind of off topic, and we're kind of backtracking here, but I just want to steer the hornet's nest. Where does that put the Bills at on the season?
Missing the playoffs.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's what I was hearing. I was excited. I know
the playoffs.
I can just hear the Bills fans now. What happened? What happened? Josh Allen is supposed to save the world.
We're not anointing him here.
Yeah,
we're not.
That won't happen until he beats Pat Mahomes in a playoff game.
That's what I'm saying. Until he talks to his father and says, "Dad, this is the reason I got to move on to the next step," he will stay in the playpen. I ain't playing with Josh Allen and these Bills. Stop playing.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers the AFC. Let's roll into the NFC real quick.
We can do that.
Let's talk about the NFC West. Pretty sure we've got what is it? The Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals. Who's your favorite in that division?
In the NFC West, like I said, I'm still riding with them. I'm going with the Super Bowl champion LA Rams in the West. I'm still a believer of this team. Like I said, I mean, I've always been sold on the fact that Matthew Stafford can get the job done. And I do believe, as history showing, a healthy Stafford can get it done again. I
Yeah,
actually have two teams going out the West, but let me get your take on it first before we dive into secondary information on that.
yeah, that dude with the beard, I feel like I'm in Spanish class and trying to cheat. So I got the week one little bump of a game with the Rams. It's the only game we've gotten to see so far. And
Right.
before the season started, I would have been right there with you. I would have said the Rams. And
Mm-hmm.
I know it's an overreaction for week one, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I feel like it's the safest
Mm.
quarterback room in the group. I'm not high on Kyler Murray. I'm not real big on the Cardinals in general, but I feel like Kyler Murray's the safest pick right now in the West. You don't have Wilson to finish in there no more. You have Trey Lance, which is an interesting. I'm excited to see with the 49ers, and
Mm-hmm.
I might even take that leap to the Niners, but I'm not sold just yet. So I'm gonna take the safe pick, and I'm going Cardinals.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't hate that. Hopefully Kyler's studying and hopefully he's gonna have
Yeah,
this thing and hope next week, not this week. Hopefully he has it ready
yeah,
next week. Yeah. But honestly, I'm taking two out the West. I honestly have San Francisco as one of my wild card teams out of the
mm.
NFC.
Yeah, and I could realistically see that happen too. I would not be too terribly surprised.
Yeah, the run game is just it's too solid, and like I said, I mean it's really hard to stop what they do. They're so creative at getting Debo the ball in space, and then like I said, you got the second best tight end in all of football down there with George Kittle. You know he's going for 1,000 at the minimum. So I mean they've got the guys down there, and I believe Trey Lance will give them a spark that Jimmy G just couldn't give them. I mean Jimmy G, don't get me wrong, like I said, he got you to a bowl. You know in my opinion, he's always going to be a solid guy. But if you feel like you got to go on to Trey Lance and to try to get this thing some kind of thunderbolt juice to get a spark, then you got to do what you got to do. And I like
Yeah,
what they're doing.
yeah. The I'm trying to think of which division would you like to go to next?
You know what? It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's just go south. NFC South.
Yeah, yeah, I
Panthers,
like that.
Falcons, yeah, Saints and Bucks. Who do you got coming out
My pick for the AFC South or the NFC, sorry,
of
the
there?
NFC South is the Carolina Panthers. I think the Carolina Panthers pull off this upset. I do think we see a wild card team out of this division. I do see Tom Brady pulling off a wild card and kind of picking that up. And I wouldn't even be surprised if the Saints snuck in with that second wild card. I think the
mm.
NFC South is kind of an underrated division.
Hmm.
Uh, but I think I'm going with the Panthers. Who do you got with the
You
South?
you talking about me? That's a bold one, but I love it because I do like the Panthers. I like this Baker Mayfield Panther situation. I'm a fan of it, but there's no way in my mind that I'm not going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the NFC South, just for everything you said. Because Tom Brady is still there. The running game is going to be solid. The receivers are going to be solid. I mean, yeah, they got Julio and Lawson, but you still got your main receivers down there.
Yeah,
Um, I don't see too much of a drop off. And like I said, then looking at who you got to play outside of Carolina, like I said, I don't see them splitting with the Saints, even though that's been the case recently. The Saints used to just own them for some reason, but I think that changes. The Falcons, please. But yeah, I would have to go with the Bucks for this one here. Even though I do love that Carolina pick. Ooh, it may like you said,
yeah.
I might later on down the road, I might do it because I know Baker, he's ready. I can see it in his eyes.
Yeah, I think if we do mid-season picks, we might have to have slightly different opinions, but I think this early before the season's really gotten too carried away, I think I'm excited to pick the Panthers.
Yeah, definitely, because you got to have something bold to go on the list here. And I mean, Carolina's probably the boldest pick that you made so far out of everything that we've done. And like I said, I like the Baker situation. I think they're going to be feasible. I can roll with you on that, but we'll see. It's going to come
Yeah.
down. It's going to come down to it. Um,
So
Go
so
ahead.
yeah. So I think that takes care of the West and the South. Uh, which
Yes,
direction are we going next to with the beard?
we might as well head to the north side.
The North, the
Yeah,
dirty
head on
North.
to the right. That's pretty much. That's what the north side. We got your boy A Ron and the Packers. We got your boy I would say Stafford. Think about the Lions. We got Jared Goff and the Lions here. Um, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. And what's the boy name? Is it Trace? Who's out of Chicago now? Thinking about Trey Lance. I was about to say Trey Smith.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and you know his name is
Justin Fields.
yeah, there we go. Thank you. I
There
know
we go.
fans are about
Goodness
to get upset
gracious.
with us.
Right,
How
yeah.
don't
Tell
we
me, but
know
how y'all
Justin
don't know?
Fields?
Don't try. I like the
Yeah,
boy Justin. Go back and watch week one. I like Justin. I think he could be the guy for Chicago.
he's got a.
Um,
It's a possibility. I don't like his supporting cast. He's not getting a fair
right.
chance.
Well, I'm just looking at the rest of the division, and honestly, I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC North this year.
Yeah, and I don't blame you there one bit. I like the Vikings as well. This is a team that's been together a long time. Kirk Cousins is a garbage quarterback in number 15, guaranteed. But Cook is a monster of a running back, one of my favorites. They
Hmm.
still got Thielen. They still got some talent on that roster. The Lions, I wanna shout them out, even though they don't deserve a shout out in the playoff conversation. But I think they're gonna win at least 6 games this year, and I just want them to so bad.
I know you salivating for it. I don't know. What was the word you used? Intoxicating. There's something
Yeah,
about you and these Lions this
and
year.
I and if there's one team that doesn't deserve it or have any reason for it, it's
It's
the
got to
Lions.
be Detroit. It's got to
Yeah,
be.
something
No, yeah.
something's building there. There's a storm. It's probably the same storm that's gonna destroy Calvin Johnson and some more stuff. But
I'm gonna tell you, they got a nasty storm in
yeah,
Detroit. Yeah.
yeah. I must like to cut myself or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is with my Lions take. All
No,
right,
I got you.
all right. I think that leaves just
Yeah.
the last little bit there for the NFC East. Ooh,
Yes,
this is
sir.
an interesting division. I'm interested on your take here. That dude with the beard. What are we going with?
Well, in the East here, I really don't see anybody else coming out of it but the Eagles. Philadelphia, fly Eagles, fly. I think the boy, like I said, Jalen, he got his weapons now. I think they're in a good situation. Him having time in the offense and understanding how to move the rock within that offense, and just looking at the struggles, at the struggles everywhere else. I mean, New York, it's the Giants. Like I said, outside of Barkley, like I said, we still don't know who's playing receiver. I mean, their
Yeah.
franchise been in shambles at least the last 12 years almost. And then we got the Commanders. I mean, that just speaks for itself. Arguably the worst. That's my take. The worst. I would pick the Texans over the Commanders every week
Ooh.
because I do not believe in these Washington Commanders. There's nothing about them that says we're an NFL team. Ohio State could beat the Washington Commanders any Saturday you would pick.
Oh man, I can't take that leap with you, but I do think it would be a football game at the very minimum. It would be a game. I think the Commanders still beat Ohio State. But I think I don't think it's a shutout. Or nothing like that. you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave with the Cowboys here. I like the
Mm.
Eagles. I like your pick there, and it's a real solid pick. And part of me wants to go Eagles, but I just think I think the Cowboys are a safe pick this year, even with some questions on the offensive line. And I do have the Eagles as a wild card spot. I think they're pretty. It's the most comfortable spot I feel for a wild card spot is probably the Eagles team. I think they got a lot of talent. I like Hurts. I think he could be the guy. He's got a lot of questions too. But at least it seems like they try to build up the Eagles around him. They gave him a fighting chance for this season.
Right. No, I understand. Um, did I pick another wild card for the NFC?
Yeah,
I picked
I think you
one.
did.
I know I picked San Fran because that was my original. And then, you know what? I didn't pick a second wild card. But looking at the list here, I think I'm on the Carolina Panther wagon all of a sudden. I think they could, just looking at the NFC, I'm thinking they
Yeah.
could come away with that other wild card spot. I don't think Green Bay makes the playoffs this year. I know everybody's been talking about it. I just don't think it happens. I think Ron takes a much needed sabbatical. He want to be chilling anyway. I don't see them making the playoffs. Not with
And
not with this roster.
you saying that made me realize I didn't have Green Bay in the playoffs, and I started thinking about where I could maybe slide them in, and I don't have. There's no room at this table, buddy. Seats taken. You know what I
Right,
mean?
seats taken. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, A-Rod. Maybe that'll be when he dresses up as Halloween next year or something.
Right,
A
we'll
little
have to
Forrest
see.
Gump ish.
You're right, little Gump action, right? Oh man, yeah. I'm with you on that. Like Green Bay wasn't even a thought in my mind as far as getting to the playoffs. I'm just looking at what they got and, like I said, what they don't have. More importantly, I don't see them really coming out that division unscathed. Like I said, I mean, you see Aaron Rodgers, he's bold on TV. He's talking about, every year there's teams in the North, they feel like, yeah, this is our year. But he's like, since I've been here, that's not really the case. So, I mean, he's talking greasy. I mean, he's been backing it up. These are facts. But, I mean, how long y'all going to keep letting Aaron talk greasy on y'all? What are you going to do? And I think Kirk Cousins and them, they got enough. And he's, how do you like that? I think we're about to see a how do you like that season from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting to see, and I'm sure Vikings fans will be real excited for that one. Well, that gives us all of our division winners. I hope you folks enjoy the division winners. Again, this is bold predictions. We take hot takes, but we give them to you, and I think we kind of delivered both on that tonight from the sounds of it. I thought mine were going to be pretty mundane, but apparently it's a little out there sometimes. The rationale makes perfect sense in everybody's head until the football snaps.
Right.
Right. Everybody's got to play until you get punched in the face.
Right, exactly. I'm saying what they say. The math always adds up until you see the bill. So so we'll see what happens with that here. And great day today here. We got a lot covered. We appreciate everybody stopping by and checking us out here. We'll continue to pump out more content, of course, here, and the boldest predictions that you'll see. I mean, where else are you going to get them besides bold predictions?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So we'll see. And for my boy Baker Mayfield down in Carolina, I can't wait to see you in action, my boy. And another shout out. I can't wait to see my Kansas City Chiefs in action to take Kyler Murray and these Cardinals to the river. It's going to be a great day for football tomorrow. We're all excited, and we're just happy that you guys are here with us, rocking with us. Mr. KC, I'm that dude with the beard. Anything else you want to say to the folk?
Yeah, I just want to give a couple shout outs, like you said. I'm excited for the growth of this channel already. It's we've already exceeded expectations, and we can't appreciate the support that we've gotten enough. The subscriber list is getting too long to even shout out. We probably had 5 times the amount of views that I expected. And for folks that don't know, this is filmed on Saturdays. So this is before the week starts. And we're super excited to see what happens tomorrow. This episode will come out before the Chiefs have won. But I just want to go ahead and congratulate my Kansas City Chiefs on this victory. And if not, this isn't getting edited out, and I don't care. We should have won. And
Because we're bold. We standing
we're
on
bold. Yeah, and I'm going to ahead and call my shot beforehand.
That's
And
right.
thanks, folks, for tuning in. And don't forget to hit those likes and subscribes and shares
Yes.
and all that
All of
good
that.
stuff.
Help us out. Thank you, folks.
Yeah. All right. You have a good night.
Yes.
We talking football, X's and O's. Let's go.